Hey y'all, welcome to Peyton Energetics. I'm Peyton, and in today's video, we're going to take a deep dive looking at some of the different starseed missions. So a few months ago, I did a video where we looked very quickly at some of the major categories of starseed soul missions. So we covered all the different categories, and I gave you just a little snippet, a little sneak peek as to what each of these missions means and some of the things you can look for to start trying to figure out what your starseed soul mission is. But in today's video and over the next couple of videos, we're going to take a deep dive into starseed missions because this is something that I see is one of the main questions that so many of my starseed students and clients have right now. That is, they want to know what their mission is, what they're here to do, and how to get on with it. So today we're going to start taking a much more involved look at the various different major categories of starseed mission to give you some things to look at, to consider as you start to figure out what your purpose is here on Earth as a starseed. So today we're going to start by talking about what is probably the most common starseed mission, and that is that of the teacher and healer. So starseeds who are on Earth to be teachers and healers very often know that that is what they are here to do. So when we talk about someone who is a naturally gifted healer or a starseed healer, oftentimes we're talking about people who are very drawn to healing modalities. So that may mean that they are very pulled to study different healing techniques, to learn different healing modalities. But something else that is often common in starseeds who are here to be teachers and healers is that they're very good at sensing energy in people. So what I notice when I work with my starseed clients who are healers is they've always been very good at seeing energy, even more so than the average intuitive or the average person who may be very psychically active, very intuitively active. And that is, healers in particular seem to be very good at seeing energy in people's bodies. And it may not be seeing it with their eyes, it may be sensing energy. Like I had a friend who was a colleague in several of my classes who was a Reiki master, and she had the most amazing ability to watch energy flowing through a room or through someone's body. She could see it, she could watch the patterns of it, she could see how it interacted with other energies. And I was always so impressed watching her work because it's just such an unusual talent. And I notice this in a lot of my clients who are healers, that they've been very gifted with seeing energy patterns in a way that the average starseed and even the average light worker probably can't do. So if that is something that is unnatural to you, that it's easy for you to see energy, to feel it moving, to sense how it moves and how it sits in someone's body, that is one of the great signs that you may be here to be a teacher or a healer. And unlike some of the other starseed missions that we'll be getting to through the next couple of videos, I find that oftentimes starseeds who are here to be teachers and healers connect with their mission very easily. So unlike some of the more specialized starseed missions, like say a transmuter or a resonator, which we'll get to shortly, healers and teachers a lot of times find very easily that that is what they want to do. So this seems, in my experience, to be one of those starseed missions that it's easier to figure out. So one other thing that I notice a lot of times in starseed healers is they're very drawn to healing work in all forms. So that can mean that they're drawn to study healing modalities, and they may take every healing class they can find. Or they may find that they really resonate with one particular modality and just dive in head first, wanting to do it all the time, around the clock, learn everything they can, achieve every level of mastery of it. So I see that the starseeds who are healers are passionate about healing. And a lot of times, one thing that I've noticed among the starseeds that I have worked with is a lot of times they are drawn to Reiki as a first step. So if you are someone who has always been fascinated with energy healing, and especially if you find yourself drawn as a first step to studying Reiki, I often find that Reiki is one of the gateways for healers, that it's one of the first steps that many healing starseeds take to introduce themselves, or really to remember their own natural healing gifts. Now, something else that I have noticed in starseeds who are healers is that they're very good at offering healing vibrations to other people. So if you have studied energy work, if you have ever, learned an energy modality, or even had energy work done on your body, you may know that, as we say in energy work, you heal you. Healers don't heal you. And what we mean by this is healers, from the perspective of energy healing modalities, hold a vibration of healing, a high vibration, and then offer it to their clients to match. But it's always the client who decides whether to accept the healing energy. And so one thing that I have noticed in many of my healer clients is that they are experts at really protecting and holding a high vibration so that they can offer that healing energy to other people who need it. So if you are someone who has just always felt like you had a natural ability to heal, it may be that you do, because that is something else that is very common in starseed healers, is they're aware of their healing gifts even as early as their childhood. I had one friend who had a daughter who was a very gifted healer, and her daughter could heal people from the time she was very, very young. Even before she had any training, had any energy experience or intuitive experience, she knew how to heal people instinctively. And so this may be something that you recognize in yourself if you are a starseed healer, or you may see this in your starseed children. Because as we see more and more children coming in as starseeds, we're starting to see their gifts present themselves earlier and earlier. And so one of the things that healers are often very good at is knowing instinctively how to heal the human body. And healers, again, can work at every level of healing. So you have healers who work on the physical body. You have healers who work on the mental and emotional bodies, even the spiritual bodies. So when we talk about healing in the energy world, we're talking much more broadly than we generally mean when we use it in a more mainstream way. So healers oftentimes connect to their healing gifts very early in their lives, even as early as childhood, and just have an instinctive sense of what the physical body needs and how to move energy around in someone's physical body in a way that will produce healing results. So again, if you notice those characteristics in yourself or in someone that you know, that may be a sign that they are a starseed whose one of their soul missions is to support the planet with healing. Now, something else that I see in a lot of starseed healers is that they're very good with animals. So this may be just another one of those signs that indicates you may be a starseed healer, is if you have a particular sensitivity and just easiness around animals. I've just noticed that a lot of healers just have a deep love of animals and also of children. So healers, again, because they are so good at seeing energy in other beings, other places, seem to just have this natural connection with animals in a way that maybe the average person, even the average light worker or starseed, doesn't. And healers, just as we were talking about, the word healing in energy circles means something a little different than it means in the mainstream definition of it. So when we talk about starseeds who are here to be healers, it may not mean specifically that they're here to heal humans or even the physical body. Many starseeds who are healers may also be here to heal the planet, to work with planetary energies, or to work on family healing. So a lot of starseeds who are healers incarnate into very challenging family dynamics because they are here at a soul level to bring their healing skills to do major ancestral healings and healings of entire family lines. So that's something that I'm seeing increasing as a trend, is that a lot of starseed healers that I'm coming across are here to not necessarily just do healing in the traditional sense, but to do healing of planetary grids, planetary energies, to heal ancestral wounds and traumas. So they're here not necessarily to work on a physical body, but here to heal karmic relationships, deep karmic traumas that run through many ancestral lines, or even to work with animals. So your healing skills may show up such that you're drawn to healing animals. And again, that may mean physical healing, or it may mean helping them with emotional needs, with recoveries, with dealing with traumas. Any of that can fall under the umbrella of what we call healing in the energy world. Something else that is very common in starseed healers is that they often are bringing into this human incarnation healing modalities from their home star system. So oftentimes starseeds are coming to Earth to support the ascension process. And one of the ways they do that is by bringing higher dimensional modalities, whether that is technology, healing, or even wisdom, knowledge, information. So for starseeds who are naturally gifted healers, oftentimes something that will be part of that package is that they're bringing in healing modalities from their home civilization. So the way this can present itself in your life, if you are a starseed who is a healer, is that you may find you're creating your own healing modalities. So maybe you start off learning a traditional modality, traditional healing technique, but you find that your guides are giving you new ways to do it, giving you a new spin on that technique, or that you just jump over that technique altogether and you just instinctively know how to move healing energy. You know what the body needs or what the emotional body needs. And this is something that is one of those amazing signs that you may be a starseed healer. If you have this intuitive knowingness of what is needed to heal a person or a family line or even an animal. And so these are some of those signs that you may be here to be a healer. And just because you recognize some of these traits or characteristics in yourself doesn't mean that you have to necessarily be a healer as your job or your work. A lot of times, starseeds who are healers are just here to do healing in any capacity they can. So it doesn't mean that you necessarily have to set up shop as an energy healer. It may just mean that you're here to serve the planet in whatever capacity you can, using your healing gifts. So again, knowing what your starseed mission is doesn't mean you have to quit your career and start doing that professionally. It's just to show you where your gifts and abilities and special skills might lie, and to give you some ideas of things that might resonate with your soul. But it never means that you have to quit what you are doing and do this mission full-time as your work or your life purpose. So your starseed mission is always more some of those things that you're very good at inherently and that you intend to bring to the earth plane to help humanity by bringing these energies, these modalities, these techniques. But it never means you have to quit your day job and start doing this. So don't think you have to if you're starting to realize that you may be a starseed healer. Now, a couple other things that I have noticed in starseed healers are, first off, they are incredibly sensitive to energy. And as you've heard in so many of these videos, most starseeds are heightened in sensitivity in some way, whether that is being intuitive, whether that is being empathic, being an empath, whether that is being very psychically active. This is something that's very common in starseeds because of two things, really. One is the high vibration that starseeds naturally carry. And the second is starseeds are very connected to their off-world origins. So more so than the average human, the average person, Starseeds are still very connected multidimensionally. And with this heightened connection, this heightened vibration comes heightened sensitivity. But I find that starseed healers tend to be exceptionally sensitive to energy. So if this is something that you have just always naturally kind of been aware of, then that may be a sign that healing work may be a very good fit for you. And something else that I notice in starseed healers in particular is that these seem to be some of the most loving and compassionate people you will ever meet. Some of the starseed healers that I have met are just the most loving souls you could ever imagine. And this seems to go with that tendency to be a healer. So again, they tend to be very compassionate, very loving, even sometimes to the extent of putting everyone else's needs in front of their own. That is something that is quite common with starseed healers, but they're just incredibly compassionate people very often. Some of the nicest people you will ever meet. And something that can happen with this incredible sensitivity to energy and desire to serve, which so many healers have, is they tend to hold up everyone around them. So your starseed healer very often is that person who is the rock of the family, the rock of the community, and is lifting everyone else up. They are really, very, very often the heart and support system of their life. And so that's something that I see happening a lot with my starseed healers. But because of this, because of the sensitivity and the tendency to hold up others, one thing that can happen is starseed healers can be a little more prone to overwhelm, to burnout, to giving more than they nourish themselves, more than they allow themselves to restore, replenish. So that's always something to kind of keep your eye on if you are a healer. And finally, the other thing that I tend to notice in so many of my starseed healing clients is they tend to have a huge team of helpers around them. So whereas when I work with the average light worker, even starseed, I might generally, when I look at their energy field, when I look at them intuitively, I might see their 3 or so main guides, maybe a few, deceased relatives who are guiding them. But it's so funny when I look at starseed healers, they tend to show up with an army of support. It is like they have an entire legion of healing guides and masters who are surrounding them, guiding them, and helping them at all times. So it always kind of makes me smile when I look energetically at a starseed healer, because one of the dead giveaways for me is that they show up with an entire posse. They show up with not just a couple guides, a couple, spirit helpers, but they show up with an entire battalion. So for me, that's always one of those kind of funny signs that someone is probably here to be a healer, is when they show up with all of their galactic family healers, all of their guides who are healers, and show up with 40 guides rather than the average 1 or 2 or 3. So that's one of those kind of quirky signs that I notice when I look energetically or intuitively at starseeds who are here to be healers, is they tend to show up with a crowd. So let me know in the comments below, are you a starseed healer? And if you are, how did you figure that out? What led you to knowing that that was what you wanted to do as one of your soul purposes, your soul missions? Drop that in the comments below. And while you're down there, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the like button if you haven't done that yet. So moving on to our second most popular category of starseed missions, we're probably talking about starseed teachers. This is another one of those very common categories of starseed missions. And that is starseeds who are here to teach. So after healers, this is one of the most common missions that I see in starseeds, is people who are here to teach, to bring information and knowledge to the planet. And of course, as starseeds, we are here primarily to support Earth through the ascension process. And so one of the ways that starseeds do this is by bringing in multidimensional wisdom, knowledge, and information. And certain starseeds are here then intending to share that information, to share multidimensional knowledge, wisdom, tools with the population, with the collective, to help humanity awaken. And so if you are a starseed who is very drawn to presenting information to the public, it could be a sign that you are here to be a starseed teacher. And so starseed teachers can take so many different forms. They can be here to be speakers. They can be here to be on all of our information platforms, just sharing wisdom and knowledge, like this video, to share information to help other people awaken and find their own path, their own soul mission. So one of the things that starseed teachers are often here to do is to help people who are struggling with the ascension process. So by sharing information to help people move through the ascension process, to bring in higher dimensional wisdom and information in any category that you can imagine, where starseeds are sharing information, teaching, coaching, guiding. This is what you'll see often in people who are here to be teachers. They have a desire to share higher dimensional wisdom and information. So if you are someone who is here and doesn't just love learning information and spiritual knowledge for your own use, but you feel very compelled to share it, to use any platform available to get the word out, to help other people, then that is a good sign that part of your starseed mission may be as a teacher. So I hope this helped give you a little bit of clarity on one of the main categories of starseed missions, which is that of teachers and healers. In our next video, we are going to take a look at grid workers and then move on to resonators, anchors, transmuters, and all those other fascinating categories of starseed mission to help you figure out what you are here to do, how you are here to serve the ascension process. So I hope this helped you. Drop a comment in the comment box. Let me know if you're a teacher or a healer, and how did you know you were? What was your path to discovering that? I always love to hear your stories. So let me know that, and don't forget, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done it yet. I'll see you soon. Bye.